How's it going, guys? It is Luke here. We have a Wi-Fi battle for you. It's going to be played back pretty fast because it was kind of a long battle, and this wasn't by any stretch of the imagination a great battle, but it was certainly very close, very, very close. So I'm going to actually upload it for you guys because I thought, you know, it'd be a decent watch, so why not? If I enjoy watching it back, I guess you guys should enjoy watching it back. So anyway, I was actually expecting him to lead with anything other than Scrafty here, but he ends up doing that because I didn't actually have T-Tar in the lead position before I went into Wi-Fi, but as it turns out, he just decides to lead with it anyway. So obviously I'm forced to switch, so I'm going to go out to my Scizor. Now, he goes for the Dragon Dance as I switch in Scizor, which isn't a problem. I know I can take any hit and just go for the U-turn and get initiative out, and basically switch out to whatever I want to deal with this thing, which of course is going to be Terrakion. So he ends up going for the second DD, and that's fine because I know that Scrafty has very low base speed, so I know even at +2 it's not going to be outspeeding my Jolly Scarf Terrakion. So I'm just going to U-turn straight out to that. I do obviously have to close combat, and because this is a Dragon Dancing variant, I'm going to assume it either has extremely little or no defense investment. So I'm just going to hit him with the close combat, confident I can take it out, which I do end up taking it out, which is great. That is one big threat out the way, because that thing, the right set on that thing does actually tear through my team. So he's going to go out into Gliscor, knowing that I must be Choice Scarf. And that does force me to switch out, but fortunately for me, I always pack a Rotom, and obviously a Rotom is one of the best checks to Gliscor, unless it's a speedy variant, Subtoxic, and you're running a bulky Rotom, then that's a really bad matchup. So anyway, he goes out to Ferrothorn here as I go for the Volt Switch. Obvious switch is obvious, that's why I go for the Volt Switch. I can get initiative on whatever comes in, which happens to be Ferrothorn. I can actually go out to my T-Tar at this point, and I can set up Stealth Rocks. Now, I really want to set them up purely for the Latios. That thing is going to be a pain in my ass. So I end up setting them up here, which is great. That's really going to help out later on, as you're going to see. Now here, I was actually replying to somebody on Skype, so I didn't see what move he went for. And I thought if he'd gone for Earth Power, it would have done less because of the special defense raise. So I really had no idea what he went for. And because of that, I'm going to end up making a switch out here because I really wanted to know what he went for. So I go out into Rotom here, and you see that he actually goes for the Earthquake, which is the move that I missed. So that does explain the damage, but I'm starting to think this thing is sheer force because you guys are going to see now. I make a double switch predicting him to go out to his Ferrothorn, which would be the smart play. He actually ends up staying in and going for the Fire Blast and catches my Gliscor, which is really, really bad news because he has a Jirachi. So I end up switching out, going back to my Rotom, unfortunately letting it take a Fire Blast, which it should never have had to have taken. But I don't want to say it was a misplay on my part because anybody who plays by common sense, I made the right play, and really there's no justification for... I don't know, it was just, I played correctly and I suffered for it, so whatever. Anyway, Latios ends up coming in on my Hydro Pump unexpectedly. I was expecting the Ferrothorn again, but I guess not. So I'm just going to make a hard switch out now to my Tyranitar. Now, I don't really want to go out to Tyranitar, but I don't really have a choice. Unfortunately, I'm actually going to end up taking 2 hits here, which is great because that means he's going to rack up 2 turns of Life Orb damage and 2 turns of Sand damage, which is perfect. On top of coming in on the Stealth Rock. So you can see this thing's had 1 switch in and it's pretty much wasted already, which is great. So now I can go out to my Terrakion here, which is Scarf. I can go for the Stone Edge to take that thing out. I didn't want to go for the Close Combat or the X-Scissor to finish it off because of the Gliscor, so I had to take the risk of the miss, and thankfully I don't miss. So now he goes back out into Gliscor. Again, I still have the Rotom around, so I don't have to worry. I can freely go out to that, and I know my Rotom checks in really, really well, so I have nothing to worry about. Now, right here, he's going to, I think, stay in, predicting my Volt Switch. And he said he predicted my Keldeo, and that's not cool, man. That's not cool. That's a Keldeo. You don't do that. That sucks. I was pissed. So now I end up going out into Rotom, which I should just have gone for the Hydro Pump in the first place. I should know that people on Wi-Fi don't play like people on PO. They don't play as risky, so that was my fault entirely, and I ended up losing my Keldeo because of it. So I end up staying in here and just going for the Hydro Pump. We're not going to fuck around after we just lost to Keldeo, so I just go straight for the Hydro Pump, take him out. And he brings in Ferrothorn. Now, I know at this point, bar the Nidoqueen, I am free to go for the Volt Switch. I don't think he's going to make a double out into that because I will outspeed him and I'll be able to take him out. So I end up going out into my Scizor here as he ends up going for the Leech Seed, which is fine. I don't plan to stick around anyway. I could have gone for the Superpower at this point, but there's no real point in doing that because I'm Leech Seeded, so I'm just going to go for the U-turn to get off some decent damage and then U-turn straight out into my Gliscor here. Now, he ends up going for the Power Whip, or he wanted to go for the Power Whip, but he ends up misclicking and going for the Stealth Rocks. Now, the Power Whip probably might have taken me out from there, and I'm super grateful for the misclick because as you'll see, he goes to Jirachi now, and I can't make a sub unfortunately, so I'm actually going to go for the Earthquake because I know that to take that thing out later I'm going to need to get prior damage off on it before Terrakion can finish it off. But he ends up switching in Rachi, which ends up taking the Earthquake instead, which is nice, so no complaints here. Now he ends up going for the Water Pulse. Now this confused me because he's not running a rain team, I haven't seen the Thunder, which is just stupid, and I get confused and nearly kill myself, so that's really, really annoying. So I want to save Gliscor for later because, you know, Death Fodder is Death Fodder, and I can always bring that in to help me out, I guess, for a free switch. So I end up going out into Rotom here, as he ends up going for the Water Pulse again. Thankfully, I don't get confused this time, which is great. But unfortunately, as you're going to see, he's actually running a more offensive variant because he actually gets his lefties first, which tells me that even though he is offensive and he carries leftovers, he's still going to outspeed me. So he ends up taking me out. I can't risk switching because I don't know his moveset yet, and he reveals the Psychic, which is weird. Now, only Scarf Rachi carries Fire Punch, so I thought I could stay in and U-turn here, but as you can see, clearly he actually ends up having the Fire Punch. So the fuck is wrong with that set? I don't know, but it ends up taking me out, which is really annoying. So anyway, now I have to go out into Terrakion now. I was pretty sure at this point I'd lost, and he actually ends up messing it up for himself here. He ends up going to Ferrothorn, and I end up getting a free EQ off on it. Now that mattered a lot, as you're going to see, because Ferrothorn can actually one-shot me. Jirachi, as we'll come to find out, can't. So I end up going to Gliscor here, what I was talking about earlier, the Death Fodder. He ends up going for the Bulldozer, which is perfect because I really need to get a hit off on this thing so that I can take it out in one hit with Terrakion, because if I don't, I'm actually going to lose the game. And I end up going for the EQ and end up bringing it down, and I live the Gyro Ball, which is amazing because from that range after leftovers, I know I still can't take it out. So I end up going for another EQ, I still don't take it out, he ends up taking me out with the Power Whip, which is fine. That's absolutely great because now he's at a range where I can take him out. So I go out to my Terrakion, which is my last poke. He has 3 pokes left at this point, so it's all up to Earthquake. So I end up locking myself into Earthquake. I can't lock myself into close combat because obviously he has a poison type, and obviously because I don't want to lower my defenses. So he ends up bringing the Rachi. I know this thing's going to take a hit, and I thought if he has Iron Head, this is game. And he actually ends up going for the Psychic. Now because of the special defense raise from the Sandstorm, I'm actually going to be able to take this. I do get the Spidef drop, which isn't a big issue because I can now outspeed this thing and take it out. And obviously I'm going to be able to outspeed the Nidoqueen and take that out with an Earthquake. So that was a really interesting match. So it wasn't great on my part. I definitely could have played a hell of a lot better. And it definitely came down to luck on my part that the opponent didn't really think his moves through too much. Because if he did, I certainly would have lost that match. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was certainly interesting. Previous battle annotations on the top left. You can subscribe and join the Keldeo army by clicking the yellow annotation in the middle. Previous, featured video on the bottom left, and my channel on the bottom right.